how do you do? Welcome back to the Grower Review. This is my second video that I'm recording in accordance with the YouTube format. The first time I did so, I wasn't sure I'm going to continue with this format, but here we are, here I am. Because I really enjoyed recording the previous video for YouTube. It was at a very leisurely pace, and I took my sweet time with it, marinating in my thoughts, like I said in my previous video. So I'm back here again. Also, funnily, I didn't post about that video on Instagram at all because my accounts have been deactivated. Like I deactivated my accounts because I needed a break from Instagram, and still I got a response that I wasn't really expecting, which was very humbling. So thank you very much. But yeah, I mean I know you all can't resist me, so but here I am, and today I am going to be reviewing ठीक तुम्हारे पीछे by Manav Kaul. This is my second book by Manav Kaul, and anybody who knows me, I swear by his writing. The first book I read, I mean I've only read two. The first book I read, तुम्हारे बारे में, is featured in my favorite lists, which is a very compact list to be honest. So huge accolades to this book. तुम्हारे बारे में is basically a compilation of whatever Manav over the years typed down in his notes app. So it's basically his thoughts free flowing, all compiled into a book. And the title is so appropriate because once you read this book, you realize it's actually about you, it's actually about me, it's actually about every human out there possible. Because at the end of the day, I feel human experiences are very mirrored. It's just that we're very different as individuals, but also very same at the same time. So while reading this book, I actually felt like he was writing about me, and I'm sure when you're gonna read this book, you're also gonna feel like this is about you. And the writing is so poetic. It is also existential at times. I don't know. There's just something about it that just hits you, and you're like, I'm just bearing my soul all naked out there for everybody to see. Whoever's reading this book, it's literally feeling like you've been stripped naked. So that's how good this book is, and I really urge you to pick this one up. Well, coming back to the motto of this video, that is ठीक तुम्हारे पीछे, the book that I recently finished, second by Manav Kaul. I thoroughly enjoyed this book. But the point is that तुम्हारे बारे में was so good, so exceptionally good that this book could reach there. And for me, that is why I constantly felt that something out there was lacking. It's not the writing that was like lacking. It wasn't the stories, the characters. Everything was pitch perfection in this book, but it just wasn't as good as तुम्हारे बारे में. ठीक तुम्हारे पीछे is basically a collection of short stories, and they also, so the characters in this book, the characters in each story are again so human. They're people that you and I know. They are actually you and I in every possible way. It could be you in that situation, it could be I in that situation, it could be any person in that situation. And the situation or the experiences that the stories mirror are also so I don't know, so mirrored with life. I think, I don't even want to call it fiction because it's so real. I mean, you know that these stories happen. You know that these thoughts cross everybody's mind. This is something that everybody thinks of. Or probably if you were in a situation like this, you would also act like that. And I think that is a trademark of Manav's writing. He writes the human experience in the most philosophical way, which is very, very poetic. Wow. My analysis in one line was also poetic. I don't think I can repeat that line. I'll have to watch the video again. But yeah, there was a foreword by Manav where he talks about what makes him write. So he says that it's not nothingness, it's not the khalipan or akelapan that attracts him to writing. He says that whenever he's sitting in front of a kora kagaz, a kora panna, suddenly a conversation starts happening with that blank piece of paper, and whatever is going on inside of him just suddenly comes out in words on that paper, and stories are written. Just immediately after reading Theek Tumhare Piche, I've picked up this book, which is very Insta famous also. I don't pick up a lot of Insta famous books, but this one I read quite a number of reviews to be sure, and they were almost all good reviews. The book is Writers and Lovers by Lily King. In this book, also, this author talks about why she writes. She says, the character basically says, who's a writer, says, I don't write because I think I have something to say. I write because if I don't, everything feels even worse. I think I think when you are somebody who writes or is capable of writing, when when your thought process is very overwhelmed with everything, suddenly the words just come pouring out. I've experienced that a number of times. I've been fortunate enough to experience that. Because I remember that, when a thought used to prop up in my head, I couldn't stop myself but like open my laptop, pick up my pen, and just write it down. Just go with the flow and not stop, and then probably edit it later and make it public or not make it public, whatever. But that is what happens when you're talking about writing. And I've been missing that part of myself because for the longest time there hasn't been a thought that has overwhelmed me to the point that I just go ahead without a thought writing. I think the only thing that happens when I want to write is the imposter syndrome, and that's one reason that I haven't written for the longest time. A friend recently said that, oh, you've been sitting at home because of your ligament tear. Why don't you pick up your pen and just write something, because you haven't written in a very long time? And the only answer I had to that was, I have no thought to write. So fortunate are the ones who can write. On that note, I'm going to finish this video. If you've read Manav Kaul's work, then let me know your thoughts. If you haven't read, I strongly urge you that you pick it up, you read his works, and also I think हिंदी पढ़ना बहुत बहुत ज़रूरी है. Like not just हिंदी, but आपको अपनी मदर लैंग्वेज में कुछ पढ़ना बहुत बहुत ज़रूरी है. Because I think अगर हम लोग अभी अपनी लैंग्वेज को छोड़ देंगे ना, for the quote unquote westernization of our entire lifestyle, then for the coming generations ये बहुत बड़ा प्रॉब्लम है. I know that मैंने एक हिंदी किताब के बारे में मोस्टली इंग्लिश में बात करी है इस पूरे वीडियो में, and that is a serious problem, because I think unfortunately English comes more naturally than Hindi to me. It might sound very privileged, it probably is even privileged, but the point is that at the same time I'm now making efforts to read more of Hindi literature. I'm also making efforts to read in Punjabi, because Gurmukhi is also a script that I know and I want to explore. But the problem has been that when I read in Gurmukhi, I can read what's written, but to understand it has been a task. So if you have any easy recommendations for books in Gurmukhi, leave them down in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you for sticking around. Toodles!